Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Behind the Veil, a show that provides insight into the world of weddings. I am so excited because today, and Julie's already up on screen, we have Julie Novak, the CEO and co-founder of PartySlate.com, a website dedicated to the best of the best event planners, best audiovisual, I'm going to say Marci, best invitations. And then, of course, we have Marci Guttenberg with an affair to remember by Marci. So welcome, everybody. Julie, thank you so much
I'm
for
so
being part of the
excited to be here.
show. Oh, my goodness.
I
I'm
love
so
your
excited.
show. I'm a fan.
Oh, I love that. One of the things, and I know that I said before we went on air that I didn't really want to ask you any questions because I wanted it to be part of the show. So, one of the things that I love Party Slate, and one of the things that I really loved is that when you guys branched out into South Florida, the events that you did for the event planners and event pros down here were extraordinary. Like they were
I have to thank our creative partners because, we give them a blank slate and we say we want, unique, memorable, Instagrammable, branded Party Slate and the best of the best. And they come up with things that it's almost like a marketing event for them because they get to feature what they do best. And we always work with incredible, event planners, and we work with incredible venues. And we just want to create an experience that's memorable, and hopefully they remember Party Slate because of that.
Well, and of course, the thing is that I actually still remember the party that you did at the one, which is the numeral one, and you had a vendor there that you would give him 3 words, and he would create a small poem on an old-fashioned typewriter, and I still remember it because it was just such a cool idea that I would have never even thought about. And I remember Sarah Renee, who is a big event planner. She got her hair braided there, and it's just like half her head, of course, because that's Sarah. But
and I mean, it was an experience for everyone. Between the photo sets and and the food was extraordinary, and just the setting. The only one downside was they were not allowed to have a microphone on the beach because of sound constraints. So I got the general manager of the one hotel. I'm not a shy person, but I got on the stage with the DJ, and the two of us belted it out the best we could.
I remember that.
There was sound issues. That was the only downside, but I love that hotel.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that when you decided to get into the South Florida market, you did it right. Yeah. You went the extra mile to really showcase the fact that this website was meant for the best of the best. Like you wanted to make sure that this event was extraordinary, that people came to it, and even event planners were wowed.
And we also want to show that we're not just weddings. We celebrate corporate events, like our Party Slate events are corporate events, milestone events, fundraisers, galas. We think these other events are equally exciting and inspirational as weddings. And so half of the content on Party Slate are non-wedding events. So other types of celebrations that we think can inspire engaged couples too. I know a lot of people that like to look at bar and bar mitzvahs. There's a lot of creative themes. People like to look at the fundraisers and get ideas for their events.
So you're CEO and co-founder. So why did you actually start Party Slate? I mean, there are a million websites. They're not wedding wire, yada, yada, yada.
I remember since my first party in 7th grade, I kid you not, I've always loved events. I've loved them from the very beginning. And I've always wanted to create a place where people can celebrate all kinds of events. And so when I started the company, I was looking to create a Houzz-like experience. HOUZZ. Does anyone know that Houzz event decor website? Okay, kitchen, bathrooms. You have to
now I'm gonna have to check it out. Houzz?
Yes, HOUZZ. They should give me a commission. So I was redesigning my kitchen, and I used this website. And after 20 years of digital agency experience, so I've always loved events, but I was planning corporate events and fundraisers. I was your client. I would hire you for my big corporate events. And I was going online, and I could never find anything that inspired me. There's a lot of wedding blogs out there that are more mass market.
Right.
Pinterest at the beginning wasn't as big, but also fun. I got lost in like dead ends on Pinterest. Like, where am I? Is this a spammy site? Like, where?
Right. Yes.
And then I used Houzz, and it clicked for me after 20 years of digital agency experience that this is what I needed for my events I was planning. So it's not like it happened overnight, but when I saw Houzz, it struck me like lightning. And it took me 3 years to write a business plan, to dream out loud, to recruit my tech co-founder who I've worked with for 15 years, and go raise $1 million to start Party Slate. And so because I had run a $50 million business, I had a digital agency, not my own, but I ran a central region. I had a business experience. I have an MBA from Kellogg, but I'd never done a startup before. So this was learning as we go. I had never raised money, but I have sales experience, and raising money is, sharing your vision and getting people on board. And I had a PowerPoint and a dream. And I wasn't going to stop until when I met Mindy Weiss and down at Engage, I just had a PowerPoint. I said, Mindy, I want to be the largest event inspiration platform in the world, targeting the top 10% of the industry. And I want you to be on early. And so she didn't say yes right away. But after 9 months, she said, Julie didn't give me a choice. I wore her down. So, you can't, if you get no once, I always say, not till you get no 5th or 6th times, you really say that's what's going to happen. So I got some early high profile event professionals on board, and we started with Chicago.
Yeah, I was about to say, you started in Chicago.
Top venues in Chicago, the top planners in Chicago. And it's, it was free to join. It's still free today. We have a freemium model. So you can create a beautiful content rich profile page. And then if you want to pay, because let's say you're really busy and you don't want to manage your profile or upload your photos, you can pay for our white glove service and an elevated presence on the site and unlocked features. So the early days was just about getting these professionals free, beautiful, no lose profiles, right? So there's no downside, but we still had to say we're worth your time. And so how we did that is we wrote a ton of articles. Like if I went to you, Keith, I'm going to write an article and feature your business, you'd be like, yeah, that sounds good, Julie, right? So that's how we got you, to get your content. And then 2 years later, we introduced our premium membership. And today we have over 1,400 premium members that pay for a white glove service and elevated presence on the site. So,
well, I was an early person that signed on right at the beginning. And, what I found interesting is that, we had to go through a review process, which I was like, what?
Yeah.
Really? You have a website that I'm paying, but yet I need to go through the review process first. and I found that fascinating, and also, but it also made me feel like, okay, if I got accepted into Party Slate, I'm doing something right.
Yes, and we don't let everyone on the site, and the reason is we're not trying to be snobby. We want beautiful professional photos, and we want to have screening. We know it's not going to just be $1 million events. We don't. That's not the kind of website we are. But we want professionally planned events and professional photos. So we're not a do-it-yourself website. We're never going to write an article like how you can do a wedding without an event planner. I'm like, what are these websites writing about?
I know, it just kills me.
And then they're like, how to save money on your band. I'm like, that's not what we're going to write about. We're going to write about creating beautiful, unique experiences with amazing event professionals. And we have the right, context where you can really, instead of looking at fake reviews on Yelp, look at the photo portfolio, because those don't lie. The photo portfolio and the videos, that's your work. And if someone tries to claim they did an event that they didn't do, within 5 minutes, we hear from it all over the country and it's taken down. It doesn't happen because the crediting is so up in front at Party Slate that you see the credits, you see partners. And unlike social media, you can't lie on Party Slate. You will be caught.
That's what I'm talking about, because and I have to tell you, I love the white glove service, because I was so crazy busy when and it was lovely to be able to send a link to my Dropbox. And then your guys figured out which photos to put out and created the whole profile for me. I was like, what? Wait.
We sometimes find, I kind of call it when event professionals get in the content overload freeze.
Yes.
This is what happened.
Yes. There's so many photos.
How do I pick? How do I go? And what we say is done is better than perfect. And I don't mean to say you should do a bad job, but when you're in the freeze mode, that means all your marketing gold, your photos, are sitting on a Dropbox and not going to work for you. And so what we do is we get you started, we get your photos up there, and then you can always go in and rearrange the photos, change the name, but we get you like 95% there. And then if you could just do that last 5% to make it just like you want it, or you trust our team to do it, again, done is better than perfect.
That's what I'm saying.
The photos need to go to work for you. I always say it's such a shame when I know you have that Dropbox. I know you have it. And you're just like, you got the Dropbox or you've got Google Drive or whatever, and you're only using 1% of your photos, like onesie twosies on Instagram. Like to get the SEO strength, to get in Google Images, let's get your photos out there and show how amazing you are.
Love it. Marci, you had a question?
Yeah, no, I mean, I love Party Slate in the sense that like I can go out to the website and it's just got such a high level of curation centric attachment to draw your eye in and not just see the pictures, but you're really reading the content. And I mean, we see so much content out there from everybody, but Party Slate is definitely one that I just love it. I mean,
Thank you so much.
It's constantly grabbing my attention.
And I give our awesome product and design team are just so talented. I mean, I'd love to say, oh yeah, it's all me. Yes, I had the original idea, but the vision of how the product and tech team, talk to hundreds and hundreds of event professionals, hundreds and hundreds of consumers, we call them the party hosts, and actually really identified what are these key jobs to be done that Party Slate can help with. So I want to find a venue. I want to get inspired. I want to, find out the best rooftop, whatever that is. We made it really easy. And then for you guys, the biggest insight we have is that you have so much content.
Yes.
You're so busy and you need the help. You need the extra help getting you down that last mile. And early on, Mindy and others said, Julie, it's your white glove service. I'm like, no, Mindy, we're a tech company. It's so easy. And she's like, no one's going to want to do it. I'm like, no, we're making it easy. Well, the truth is about half the people do it themselves because they want to.
Yeah,
but
because
over
that's
half
the
industry, they don't have the time. They don't want to do it.
Well, so I have to tell you, so here you are, you went to House and you were like, ding, all right, this is what I want to do. How did you even convince anybody that, oh, you know what, I'm going to go up against The Knot.
Yes.
I'm going to go up against Wedding Wire, like two huge, massive websites that are kind of like take control of everything. Kind of.
Well,
and you're like, I'm going to do partyslate.com. I mean, first of all, by the way, where did the name come from?
The name came from, so first of all, there was a little bit of controversy over the name Party. Like party, so not that kind of party. We believed from the early days that the word party, I will go nothing less than global domination. We're not there yet, but we'll get there. The word party translates globally.
Right.
The word event is a very inside the industry word. No one outside the industry, unless the corporate planners use the word event, but you're not like, I'm going to go to an event Saturday night. You don't say that. You say party. And then slate was, you can come to Party Slate with a blank slate and slate in your ideas, your vision, and your event professionals. Nice. And so we do have something called the idea slate, which many people use to save your favorite venues, your professionals, and your photos. And we're going to take that in 2022 to the next level. So you'll really be able to create a mood board, create all these things that you're looking to do to share your vision with your event professional team right on Party Slate. But I believe we've elevated above the word party. So I know some people are like, is that too much like college party?
Right.
Brian Raffinelli, one of the top planners in the country, wrote, The Perfect Party. That was his last book. And so, we believe the word party should be celebrated and not viewed as downstream party.
What about slate, though?
Yeah,
Where
really,
did that
slate
come from?
was, my original vision was slate, and we've kind of evolved the meaning. But slate was, come in with a blank slate.
Oh, got you.
Slate in your professionals and slate in your ideas.
So out of nowhere, you're like Party Slate.
Yeah, my original word was Soch, and it was such a bad name, like social, SOSH. No one knew how to spell it. It was taken by a software company. So that was just like the dumbest idea I ever came up with. And then I literally thought of 10, 20, 30 ideas. And I've always liked the magazine. I think Microsoft originally created called Slate. It's a very techy. And
right.
Slate was available. Like I didn't have to buy it from anyone. The second I saw it was available, I'm like, oh my God, can I swear on the show?
Yeah, of course you can. Please. Jesus.
Someone encourages it.
I'm like, I bought it that second. I'm like, I'm doing this business. That was 10 years ago.
Wow. And then, but then you had to raise money. You had to raise money.
I had to raise money. Exactly. So
you had to go to people and say, hey, by the way, I have this cool idea, party slate. Yes. And everybody's like,
yes.
Okay. Shot. And you're like, no, that's not what,
what you need to do when you're pitching an investor is, first of all, you come up with what is the problem.
Right.
You have to really identify what problem you're trying to solve. And for us, it was the disjointed way to get inspired, the dead ends on Pinterest, the mass market wedding only sites that didn't have corporate. They're really, those wedding websites, I won't name any names, have a lot of great features and functions. Wide wedding websites, registry. But when it actually gets to the event inspiration section, there leaves something to be desired on those other websites. So there was a lot of this, yes, Instagram is lean back, but do I find my venue on Instagram? Like that, it doesn't work that way.
And that's the hard part, is because you have to like go through everybody's profiles and through their pictures, and it's just,
so we wanted to be an SEO friendly event inspiration platform first and foremost that connected people looking to plan a larger scale event, professionally planned, with the leading event professionals in their market. And so it was different than the others. And then there's a lot of, really just, you have to paint the vision. What's the market size? What does the competition look like? And then do you have the experience and guts to go out there scratching and clawing to make this thing happen, which I told them I did.
Well, and you started in Chicago. By the way, you have a lot of fans. Actually, I'm watching our Facebook, and Esther Underhay is like, Party Slate is fantastic. It's just like constant. But okay, so you started in Chicago and then you branched out into South Florida. Are there other places that you're branching out to? I mean, are you global yet?
LA and New York first. LA and New York first. And then we did South Florida. We did Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, San Francisco. We did a great event in San Diego that was amazing.
She's covered. She just went down the list.
Boston. I mean, we really had a lot of the major markets, but we haven't done in this 2022, Colorado. We're so excited. We're going to do an event in Aspen. You guys are all invited.
Wow.
I just met some amazing planners from Philadelphia, so we haven't done.
I love Philly. Love Philly.
And Vegas, we're excited about too, even though it's a largely corporate market. There are some really beautiful
we actually have a bunch of contacts in Las Vegas, because that's where the NACE event was this summer. Remember Brooke and Marci?
I sure do. There's a lot of my money still in Vegas.
Little fuzzy memories. At this
I wish I could have come to that event. That would have been amazing. But I think awesome. Vegas is the hotels really control a lot of the event industry because it's built around them. But there's also these resorts that are 20 minutes outside of Vegas. There's a lot of really interesting destinations that are not just the Strip.
Well, remember, because and this is one of the things that I learned when I was doing like events for doctors from pharmaceuticals, is that you can't be in Vegas for your event. You have to be 20 minutes outside of Vegas if you're going to do an event for doctors, which I find crazy, because shuttle anyone
I didn't know that.
So it's actually a rule that you're not allowed to put on an event for doctors in Vegas. So like, it's an actual thing. Like, if you're a pharmaceutical, it crosses some type of line. So it's gotten harder and harder and harder to do events for doctors from a pharmaceutical standpoint. So I totally get it.
New Orleans, there's the same fun in New Orleans.
Yes, same thing. Actually New Orleans is also on the list. Like you can't be within the city limits of New Orleans to do an event. It's like crazy. But okay, so you started in LA and New York first?
Chicago.
First, then LA and New York.
Chicago, we got almost every event professional. Again, we started with free profiles, get the content, because the thing with the marketplace, even though we're not transactional like click to buy, it is connecting supply and demand, is you have to get the supply first. We had to get the event professionals first. Otherwise, someone would come to the website and there would be no content there, right? So and I'm really proud to say we just reached 1 million photos last month.
Congratulations!
I remember I was excited about 10,000. I'm like, a million.
You know
photos.
what? Let me upload some photos right now. No.
Wow.
She's got a million photos out of million
like
faces and
fireworks that can go off.
That's so cool. But I mean, did you ever? Well, obviously, you probably always thought that this is what was going to happen. But I mean, did COVID put a kink into the development?
You could say that. Yeah.
But I mean, we all had to do interesting turns during COVID in order to survive. What did Party Slate have to? Because I know that you did 52 free webinars.
I did 52 free webinars. Our main thing is we knew we had to stay relevant. We had to help the industry. We knew our revenue wasn't going to go up. We knew our revenue was going to go down. Our subscriptions, many were put on hold, complimentary, because this industry was hurting so much, and we continued our service. And so week one, I'm like, what can we do to help the industry? So we started doing these digital marketing webinars. And again, my 25 years, that ages me, of digital agency experience. I work with some of the biggest brands in the world, big retail brands, big, consumer brands. And I'm like, we've got to take our knowledge and share it with the industry. So starting with how to build your network at home, I did a LinkedIn 101. I'm a huge LinkedIn fan. LinkedIn, people, if they Google your name, LinkedIn profile is going to be right up there. So I give you an hour session on what you can do, not every day to post to LinkedIn, but once a month to make sure you're relevant on LinkedIn. And then we went into how to organize your photos and how to find your marketing gold, how to make sure you can, like, where's that, pink gala we did? How do I find that? Making sure you have a table of contents and index. Then we went into Instagram, Pinterest, of course, Party Slate marketing. So we had 52 weeks, and we're still doing quarterly webinars to help the industry. That was something we did. We also invested heavily in our product. We rolled out 5 new premium only features that are SEO friendly to the profile page. So meet the team, frequently asked questions, testimonials and reviews. All those things are valued by Google because it's content that consumers are looking for. And so we did not stop innovating on the technical side, but we did slow down and we cut costs. We got out of our bigger lease, thank God. So we stayed in our small space. We had a space for 90 people. We have 35. So we got out of that lease. Like, I did an Academy Award winning performance to get out of that lease.
Well,
I'm going to need to borrow that soon.
Well, we had Jeff Clodney on a couple of weeks ago, and and he talked a lot about SEO. So when you say SEO friendly, what does that mean? What is SEO friendly?
Search engine optimization is, I know people get intimidated by it, that it's, Sim's really techie and it's the guys with the hoodies in the corner. Really, search engine optimization is just about content.
That's a Saturday night. What are you doing?
Content marketing. And so what we say is, if you pick 20 to 30 keywords that are phrases, not just a single word, like wedding planner, like Party Slate might rank on that, but it's going to be very hard for small businesses. So could it be, Martha's Vineyard luxury wedding planner? Like, what are the phrases that you want to launch, that you want to be ranked for on page 1? Page 2, page 3 rarely gets seen, maybe, 5%. So really it's about page 1. How are you going to get on that page? And so what Google looks for is, they look for the right words and phrases. They look for people to engage with that page. Are people bouncing right away, or is it valuable? They look for the technical structure of that page. And if it's not set up in a way that Google can understand it, you're going to be penalized. Is it mobile optimized? Is it easy to read? So we have 3 full-time SEO people that are just thinking about SEO night and day. They might have they are the hoodie guys. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God, that's all they do is sit around and talk about phrases, catchphrases for Google.
Literally, they're like, what are the keywords Party Slate wants to rank for? What are the keywords that our clients want to rank for, our customers? And we create content, page structures, URLs, 50th birthday party, themes and ideas. We're on page 1 because no one else is writing about that kind of stuff. So now if you do top, event venues in Chicago, things like that, Party Slate page 1. But for proper names like Kehoe Designs, let's say they're a design company in Chicago, decor company, right after their own website and their Instagram, Party Slate ranks because their page has hundreds of events. It has frequently asked questions. It has testimonials, all in a really easily digestible format for Google. And so We create it in a way that Google can understand that it's valuable content.
That's amazing. So I'm going to go back to your 10% because you did talk about the that you only allow the top 10%, so to speak, of the event professionals. How do you do that? How do you make sure that you've got the top 10% on your website?
To be clear, we don't want to seem snobby.
No, I mean, it's not. I mean,
when we look at the top 10%, we want to look for events that are, number one, I know this sounds obvious, professional photos. So again, we see iPhone photos, that's fine on Instagram, but we only allow professional photos. So if there's a professional photographer at that event, it's the kind of event that is not a do-it-yourself backyard event. So that's number one. Number two, we do look at people's Instagram just to make sure there's a website, there's an Instagram. Number three, we get introduced to many people through our crediting system. And one thing that is very different from the Knot and Wedding Wire and other websites is when you credit someone, so the caterer or the photographer, then we invite those people to join Party Slate. And so it's basically through the networks that we've created, and we want to make sure that we're at all types of networks that we find the top 10% is really what. But
you could get into a trap when you're first starting, a website. I mean, you could get into a trap like you're like, okay, yes, we're going to go for the top 10%, but for right now, we just need people to give us money, right? Yeah. And so I'm very impressed at the fact that you're like, nope, from the very beginning. 10%. Yes. This is our role.
I like, for example, when I used to travel for my sales job, I would stay in Embassy Suites if it was by my client, or nothing wrong with a Hampton Inn or.
I love a free breakfast. I'm just saying.
Exactly. But
give me my waffle.
They don't have event spaces. They're not. They might have a boardroom. They're not going to be on Party Slate. And so, if they were to create one, we wouldn't say no. They just wouldn't be in the directory.
Riddle me this, I want to know if David Caruso was at the party in Chicago.
Oh yeah, we love David Caruso.
I'm a Chicago girl myself. I moved down here from there 10 years ago, 11 years ago.
Yeah. David Caruso is one of our favorite. He's a planner that's been on the show, and was fabulous.
Amazing.
Oh my god, he's fabulous.
Good.
Yeah, you need to. If you haven't talked to him, you need to.
Okay, there's so many talented people in this industry, and we have a spot for them on Party Slate. We want to embrace the art of this event industry. And so every time I walk into one of the Party Slate events, I'm like blown away. Like I really am. Like it's almost like a surprise party for me. No, I know.
Well, it should be actually, and I love that. I love that. Do you feel like you're living your best life ever? I
really
from 10
do.
years ago?
I will say that there's a lot of stress that comes from running a venture-backed business.
What do you mean stress?
Raising money,
combination.
I will say I've cried in the car a few times. Listen, but I love what I do. Yeah. And I love this industry, and I feel very, very lucky to be doing what I'm doing. So even the hard times when like, oh gosh, next round, the pandemic, back to office, what does that even mean? There's a lot of complication right now. Right. I just keep remembering, like, as long as you love what you do, you have a strong vision for where you're going, and you have a great team that, builds you up when you need it, and you build them up when they need it. We keep moving forward.
Well,
that is the formula for success, ladies and gentlemen. Right.
Well, and I should mention that you are actually on vacation, and
I am on vacation,
and you dialed in for this. So I can't thank you enough for that, because I was like, oh no, she's on
vacation.
Thank
you, Julie. We are not.
I kind of have cool hair right now, so I'm not my best, but I did put a little makeup on for you.
That's great, though. Where are you actually?
I am at the Four Seasons Surfside. We're staying actually in Airbnb nearby because my kids need their own room. Like
yes, please. As adults, I'm like, I need my own bathroom.
Airbnb, but my brother-in-law, my niece and nephews are staying here at the Four Seasons. So we get the best of both worlds. We have our Airbnb, and I love the Four Seasons Surfside. It is absolutely beautiful. It's a little rainy today, but that's okay. We're going to go shopping, we're going to eat out, and we're going to relax.
Oh my goodness. So you need to go to Bal Harbor for the Bal Harbor shops.
Yeah,
you haven't been to Bal Harbor?
Oh,
definitely.
It was amazing.
I'm just saying, I love that. I love that mall.
We need a good sushi restaurant and a Mexican restaurant, so that you guys will tell me where to go.
Uncle Julio's. Oh my God.
Oh, definitely.
Hello, West Palm Beach. Uncle Julio's.
That might be too far.
Frozen margaritas ever.
Yeah.
Best frozen margaritas. Huh?
One kid gets car sick, so
But they do have really amazing
Nanny's on the
guacamole.
go, Julie. Nanny's on the
go. They do have really amazing guacamole. So let me ask you something, you know, I obviously the show is always I feel like always a kid when I'm on this show because I get to ask questions that, you know, normally you wouldn't get to ask. I mean, 15 years ago, let's say 15 years ago, right? You were in a whole different world, right?
I was in
a
digital agency world. Yeah. Working with Fortune 500 companies, websites, social media, SEO. Yeah.
So when you decided that you were going to do this, how did you tell your boss?
Oh, okay. I was at this global marketing company. And I said, you know, I've been dreaming about this business for 5 years, which is true. And this is true, they started their business. They two guys went to business school together, started this amazing mobile marketing company called Vibes Media. And I saw up close, you know, starting a business, what it was like, having a board of directors, raising money. And I said to them that which is true, that they did inspire me to really think about starting my own business. And I believe entrepreneurs are always happy for people that want to start their own business. It's a different story if you're like, I'm going to break off and go steal all your clients and start a business. That's a little different.
That's different. Yeah.
Different. And I understand that happens because it happens in the digital agency world too, where people break off, and that's painful. But at the same time, to have two entrepreneurs that had started this business from nothing, and I went to them with this heartfelt of, I need to do this. I dream about it every night. I'm worried someone's going to do it. I check online. I'm like, someone's going to take my idea that's in my head, and I'm going to never live with myself that I didn't do it.
Could you imagine?
No, I couldn't because I had a PowerPoint that I had been working on, a business plan PowerPoint for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And it's not like I was doing my job. It wasn't like I was, you know.
I don't have that patience. To be honest, I don't have that patience. So 3 years, I'd be like.
It wasn't until my husband said, and it's not like I needed permission, but we did build a house using 2 salaries. But anyway, that's another story. But my husband's like, you got to do it.
Just do it.
I'll never forget. We were in that kitchen that Hal's helped me build and got me inspired. He's like, you got to do it. I'm like, oh shit, that's my last. I got to do it. And it's scary, guys, because you go from a high-paying job, and
I was about to say, because you did like all of.
And I made no salary for 4 years, so I'm still making less than I made when I was 30 years old.
Like, so as I hit my head on the microphone.
Is I'm looking for long-term, the equity and building out the company. So, and when he said you got to do it, and that conversation, I think it went better than I thought, just because it's true. I did admire that they started this company.
Right.
Let's see it. If they can start this company, I can start a company. It took me a little longer than most entrepreneurs, but they say that older entrepreneurs have a better shot at success.
But but now, now when you say Party Slate, everybody knows it. It's down here. If you say Party Slate, everybody absolutely goes, oh yeah, of course we love that. So or they're like, oh, I tried to get on, but I haven't been able to, kind of thing. And I love that because I'm like, oh, I'm on it. But little ego there. But the fact that you went 4 years without a paycheck, did you ever get to a point that you were like, what the fuck? So what what the F did I get myself into?
Never said that ever. I've never.
Can I have the formula for that, please?
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, can I get the instructions on that?
I ever, I was scared. Let's say I'm just being vulnerable now.
Yeah, of course.
When I went to raise my Series A funding, which was the last round, not this most recent one.
Right.
And you're out in Silicon Valley, and you're out meeting with the top venture capitalists.
Yeah.
And you have to remember that if you have 80 or let's say 60 meetings, 1 or 2 will say yes. And so when you have 50 no's, and again, Pinterest had like 100 no's before they got funding.
Yeah.
That's the only time where I'm like, I'm not going to give up. I will never give up, even if I have to bootstrap, whatever. But that's the only time. That's the probable most scared I was for the company. But I never said I regretted doing it. And then I ended up raising $5.5 million round. So, but it was hard to get there.
I have to say that to me, that's amazing. I can't even, as a small business owner, I can't even imagine going to people and say, hey, invest in a .com, guys, you're going to love it. because we're going to go from the top 10%, you know?
Yeah. By this time, so we're the .com days are like well behind us. There's a lot of like pattern recognition that these venture capitalists look for. They look for engagement. Our engagement was very high. They look for growth in organic traffic. They look for your revenue trajectory. At the time, it was growing very fast. So we had really good metrics. So we weren't just like, it wasn't just a dream. The beginning was just a dream, you know, and that's when it was mainly friends and family investment. And we did get Hyde Park Venture Partners, which is our first institutional investor. But later on, it's more about business metrics than it is about take a chance with us. And so you have to really tell your story the best way possible and paint a big vision of global domination in order to say, you know what, this could be 100 times bigger than it is right now.
Sounds a little like Shark Tank.
It's very much
a little bit. It really is. But you know, if you have somebody out there, and obviously a lot of people had to pivot. God, I hate that word because we've used it so many times. But you know, there were so many business owners that had to pivot and also take a chance on an idea that they may have had for years and years. And they're like, you know what, now's the time. I mean, what kind of advice could you give to somebody that is just at the beginning stages and thinks, I have a really great idea?
Yeah.
Where do you go with that idea?
So
do you vet it?
Yeah, if you have a really good idea, I always tell people, some people are like, oh, I can't tell anyone about this.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like,
I actually disagree with that because execution is so hard. Like to really execute on new ideas. It's not like someone's going to be like, hear me talk about it and say, I'm going to go do Party Slate. Like it's just not that easy. Right. So I always tell people, dream out loud, really put a business plan together, like a thoughtful business plan, and run it by really smart people. Like I met with friends that are in venture capital. I didn't ask for money. I was like, this is what I'm envisioning. Oh, you need to have this. You need to have this in your deck. You should talk to this person. And so I would say vet it fully, but don't go from the dreaming mode to the presentation mode. And if anyone does have like a dream to do a business, I can send over like our beginning deck. I can walk through how you put together. There's a lot of content out there for like, what are those 10 slides you need to pitch someone to raise money? And a lot of businesses, you don't need to raise money. Technology companies are more like building a skyscraper. Like you're going to build a One World Trade Center, you're going to need financing, right? Because it's years to build. And that's what a tech company's like. But there's a lot of businesses you don't need funding. And if you don't need funding, don't take funding. You should bootstrap as much as you can. That is not a shame in bootstrapping. And then once you bootstrap and get traction, you'll own more of the business if you go out to raise money.
And I think you're getting a much better appreciation for it too. Like the payoff inside just your mind and your soul. Like, okay.
I worked for this, damn it. You know, this is my stuff. I mean, when I first started my company, you know, as an event planner, we don't have materials. Typically, we don't have a warehouse. I mean, we're planners, we're logistic people. So, you know, it's an easy business to get into if you're, you know, if you're actually any good. But, you know, I was waiting tables for the first two years. To help subsidize my income because, you know, when you first start,
hustle. And I think people, you know, like even like your waiting tables, it gave you much better appreciation for your caterers and serving food, and the kitchen getting backed up. So I always tell people there's no shame in having like a side hustle to
I feel like
started. And
I feel like you need it.
You need it.
Too.
Yeah. You know, I feel like, you know, if you don't have a side hustle, who did we have on, Marci? Was it Renee when we were talking about the Renee Dablo?
I think it was Renee Dallo.
Dallo, yeah. We were talking about side hustles. And, you know, and that was one of the things that we talked about is like, you know, as an entrepreneur, you have no shame. There is no shame in keeping your business going.
Yeah.
You know, you'll fucking
I mean, I
shovel shit in order to make it happen.
In Chicago early on. I snuck into a wedding expo and put postcards. Don't put me in jail on each chair. I mean, like I hustle.
Yes. But that's what I'm saying is, you know, there is no shame as an entrepreneur. There is no such thing as beneath me when you're an entrepreneur.
My friend who works at Yelp, who's like the chief community officer, she's got a huge role. She was like number 1 employee in Chicago for Yelp. She's like, I used to wear a chicken suit, you know, like, it's like in the early days. So like, I always think of that. Like, you know, she's got this huge job. She's like, and I'll put on the chicken suit again if I need to.
Right. And I think, go ahead, Marci.
Go ahead.
No, you first.
What would you say to somebody who is a vendor for the industry, but they're not necessarily an event planner? How do you suggest they get more in front of the publicist, in front of them to get published.
Yeah.
That publishing is
to
everything.
get published on Party Slate, the process is pretty straightforward. You should post your photos on your profile page, or if you're a white glove service, we'll do it for you. And then you can easily submit it to our editor. So it's very easy to do that. What we look for is a really great description of the event. Like, what's the story of the event? Kind of the setting, the why of the event, what's unique or special. Right. And the more complete the vendor list is, I like to call them event professionals, the event professional list, the more complete the upload is, the more likely it is to get published. But for other publications where you can't do the self-publishing, it is super hard to get in print, because print is going down. Okay. So again, I like my People magazine. Trust me, I like People magazine. I like Vanity Fair. There's going to be like 10, 20 magazines that make it. But print advertising has dropped by 95% in the last 5 years. And you guys see Martha Stewart print going away. Brides was.
I know, and I hate that because I used to.
I know you hate it. They can't make money.
I love
as long as Vogue and Cosmopolitan stick around, I'm gonna be okay.
I mean, people are spending time on this and their laptop, and so the advertising dollars are following, and that's why we believe. Of course, I'm biased, but digital, like Party Slate, the platform approach is more of the future. It's content marketing, not necessarily advertising. But to get in Vogue weddings, because trust me, I love Vogue weddings. I'm watching. I would like to be in Vogue weddings. Not with my wedding.
That's our next step.
Next step.
It's 1 in a million. 1 in a million to get into Vogue weddings. Maybe you guys have gotten in there, but
and so let's say that you're an event planner or an event professional, and you have some photos. What makes a good photo to publish?
Yes. So I think what makes a good photo is there's a couple of things. One, there's the one single photo that on Instagram, is going to go crazy, but the publications are more looking for that, the full real wedding. And so they're going to look for a lot of things. So for Vogue, if you have a bride that's not into fashion, like that doesn't have a stunning gown, it's going to be really hard to get into Vogue, because Vogue is a fashion brand. So for Vogue, every star has to align. It has to be an incredible photographer. It's got to be an incredible fashion. And it's got to be an incredible event with a great team. So again, that's why I say the 1 in a million. But if you can get in it, more power to you. You have to have an incredible story. You have to have the full picture. It has to be submitted perfectly. And to be honest, I think it helps to have a PR person, or someone at the publication that helps you get in.
Well, it's interesting because we had, I don't even remember her name at this point. I'm drawing a blank, but she had several events that were published in People magazine. And the fact that they had like less than 24-hour turnaround time in order to make sure that nobody else scooped it.
Yes. And that People magazine is more about like the timeliness, and Vogue is more about it has to be perfect. So with People magazine, you just have to have an amazing celebrity. So you have to have an amazing celebrity, and you have to have a beautiful wedding, and then you got to get like the inside track. So really, honestly, if you're in People magazine, it's more likely the celebrity has sold their wedding, an exclusive to them. So it's less about what you do. It's more about the celebrity. And if you really want to get into People magazine, you really need to find a client that is People magazine worthy.
Well, and actually Peacock, what's her name?
Danielle Peacock?
Danielle. No. Stacy, because she actually had a wedding that was published in People magazine down here, and we couldn't have been more proud, because it's one of her own that got published in here, and so it's just cool to be able to have that one thing. And Stacy is amazing. She's an amazing event planner, but
it depends what the publication is. You want to know, what does the publication want? What do you target? Like the perfect Vogue couple may not be perfect for People magazine, but we say for Party Slate, we say the event is the celebrity. So like for us, it's the event. Like that's what we like go crazy. Like we don't even need people photos. Like we love the creativity, the experience, and there's no other platform that is like that. Like we also, you can't do people photos. Fine.
Right.
That's the celebrity.
Well,
so if they're not,
go ahead,
if they're not going to be, if they're not necessarily the full event planner, the best position for them would be to align themselves up with an event planner who's going to highlight them in their article.
Yeah, I mean, I think the event planners have the most luck at pitching. But there also are photographers that do have those relationships with those top magazines, but even they can't guarantee it. So sometimes I was surprised to hear that engaged couples hire certain photographers for hopes for being in Vogue. And it's
really,
wow. I was so shocked to hear that.
Really? I mean, it doesn't surprise me because a bride will do almost anything.
I mean, I was shocked. I'm like, oh my God, they're hiring you. And can you imagine the pressure that they can't guarantee they're going to
You better call Anna and talk about that laundry you're wearing, gal, first. Then call that gentleman or lady with the camera, honey.
With her little bob. Oh my God. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, one of the things that actually happened down here is that I was getting published a lot because of COVID, because I was like literally answering every question.
Now.
Yeah, constant.
I know.
But no, it was like New York Times and et cetera, et cetera. And I actually had people try to hire me because they wanted their wedding published.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not that planner. I can't guarantee you that you're going to be published.
Yeah. I was just surprised to hear that, on your most special day, that would be considered.
Right. That's your
biggest consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
is that why you're getting married, though? Because that brings up a whole nother list of questions.
Oh my goodness. And we've had this conversation
walking down that aisle. But
we've talked about this before, guys. I told you I had a bride that like literally the only thing that she wanted is to have the party. She didn't give a damn about the groom, and guess what? They separated before the party.
How soon after the wedding?
But I warned her. I actually warned her, and I said, I don't think you're in this for the right reasons. And anyway, but that's the one I'm saying. And then so also now, Julie, you have like global domination happening slowly, but it's getting there.
We're working on North America domination, so that's great. But I am proud to say we have some premium members in Paris and London and other places that have just heard me on podcasts or met me through Engage or whatever, that want to be the early adopters of those cities, so that when we come out there, they'll plan a party with us. So it's kind of exciting to see that we're being pulled in different places. And, we think with our Series B funding, that will be our next round. Right. That's maybe when global domination, like where we have people in Europe and people in Australia, will happen. But right now, we're really focused on getting all of North America, really, the top markets.
So, here you represent all these amazing vendors, right? That and there's a lot of them. You said 1,400, is that right? Did I say
1,400 premium members, and then we have about 15,000 profiles.
That's a lot of companies that could do a lot of stupid things. I mean,
you might grow by one after the show, darling.
Exactly. I mean, how do you constantly re-look at your vendors to make sure that they are staying in that top 10%? Because some people hit burnout, or maybe they slapped a bride, or I
mean, usually the community also helps us with that. So they'll see a venue that may have closed during the pandemic, and we'll get a message like this venue just closed and things like that. So the community helps us a lot. And then I do think we are going to have to put more staffing on like moderation of content, because we haven't had it yet. I don't want to give any ideas, but we haven't had any inappropriate photos posted.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, oh my goodness.
I don't want to give people ideas, but
and then they shouldn't, because hello, band for
life. Photographers, do some more risque photos, but nothing
burlesque.
So
a little burlesque.
Oh, is that what we're calling that now?
I think it's whatever works. Photos. But yes, we haven't seen anything yet, but we will have to keep as we grow. We're going to need, just like Instagram has like a report this or whatever, not to add something for our product team, but we are eventually going to have something that more helps people even visiting, like this may be inappropriate. This may, because we do have 1 million photos now. We can't look at every photo.
I was about to say.
But we do find that the industry does watch Party Slate closely.
Oh, 100%.
Business consumer, like when something's off, we usually hear about it.
Oh yeah, telephone, telefax.
So you've been in the industry for a really long time, and you've seen the way that SEO has developed over the years. Yes. And I can tell you, I get probably a minimum of 10 a week, 10 phone calls from people who, when I Google and look at them, they've not been in the industry for very long at all. Yeah. how would you suggest to people who are, I think the pandemic has caused a major shift in people getting over into the SEO world because they can work from home and so forth. How would you suggest dealing with all these barrage of phone calls that we get in this industry at this point?
I mean, I think when you have an SEO agency, or this is another thing, someone will email you like, I'd love to contribute content to this article I saw. Those are all spam. I wouldn't say spam. They're digital agencies working on their behalf of their clients to get backlinks, which are an important thing for search engine optimization.
Right.
But what I would say is largely ignore them and think about what content, what keywords, what phrases do you want to get ranked for, and create great content around that. And extra credit is trying to get backlinks. If you can get a New York Times, if you can get, even links from this podcast website, anything showing Google that you're backlinking to a page on your website will help you get more domain authority, it's called. And so PartySlate has very high domain authority. So we will always rank ahead of you, all things being equal. New York Times will be ahead of PartySlate. So the Google knows based on time spent, backlinks, number of traffic, they know who are the real websites and who are the spammy websites. So great content,
Big Brother
always wins. It is. That's what,
so
the
Big
biggest
Brother
company in the world. So when people say social media number 1, 2, and 3, I always tell them, do not put all your eggs in social media. Instagram. I love Instagram. We're verified. We have 150,000 followers. I love them. But the algorithm changes and you could go from this to that in one day. And so what I would say is your website has to be great. Your third-party platforms, PartySlate, even Yelp. You're going to have a Yelp page. You might as well look it out. You don't have to pay, but it might as well be up to date, and LinkedIn as well. But then really focus on your own content strategy and don't worry. Just funnel the noise away.
Ignore a lot of damn work. I mean, oh my God,
You can go to PageSpeed Insights. Is a website that Google has created. It's called pagespeedinsights.com. Type in your URL. And I can send you guys the link afterwards. Type in your URL. And if you have less than a score less than 50 on 1 to 100, you may need to hire a technical SEO person for 3 or 4 hours. You can just go to what's the website?
Is that pagefeed.com?
Pagespeedinsights.com. Or you can even just Google PageSpeed Insights. It will come up. It's a free website that allows you to show what your score is, how Google views your website, mobile.
Really?
Yeah. So Keith, you could do it right now and see what your score is. This is like real-time fun.
Yeah, I love this. I love this.
Geek out together. So PartySlate's very high score because we're a tech company. We have SEO people and we're good at this. But some people, if you have less than a 50, you should probably get someone to help you a little bit on the technical SEO side. That's my only piece of advice.
Wow. I'm gonna definitely
do that. And
I'm gonna look myself up.
I don't want anyone to feel bad about themselves. It could literally be your photos are too heavy. If you're using Squarespace or WordPress, any of those platforms, they've built it with SEO in mind, with performance, mobile optimization in mind. You should be okay. But sometimes people call me and say, oh, my friend had this platform and I started using it. Now they went on vacation. I can't reach them anymore. And they're on this old, outdated platform that is not optimized for Google. Those are the people that I always say you should go back to a supported, well-funded platform like Squarespace or WordPress. There's 100 of them. There's a lot of good ones out there.
God, I mean, did you? And so you were already in this world, right? SEOs and
25 years.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll say 15. Anyway,
I started when I was 4 years old.
Exactly, but I mean,
I would say 31. I was 12. Yay. Nope.
But that's what I'm saying is that, as event pros, our brains don't think tech. Yeah. We really don't. I mean, when I think about tech, I think about, what's the latest LED screen that I can, drop into a space. That's as far as I get with tech, And so when you have a small business, I mean, does it make sense? Because Marci brought this up earlier about the phone calls, the spam. How do you even know who to trust?
So this is what I always suggest, and I want to make sure I get the website right, but I'm pretty sure there's a website that is a marketplace for tech experts called Upwork. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah. We've heard of Upwork. Yeah,
I was gonna have to Google myself to make sure I'm right, but okay, that's right. So Upwork is a platform that has design, SEO, WordPress, Squarespace. And what you can do is, number one, first go to PageSpeed Insights and see what your score is. If it's not a great score, go to Upwork and put in SEO. It's like a dating service, and you're going to see like 100 people. They're going to have tons of reviews. They're like gig workers that help you by the hour. And so let's say you say, you know what, I don't know what I need to do.
So they're prostitutes. Okay,
by the hour, exactly. They're SEO hose.
Marci's like, I can't believe he just said that.
No, I can.
I'm not surprised.
Really?
I have no problem
not
saying
in
that.
agreement.
And the difference is they're just people that are experts in SEO, websites, social media. The other thing you can do is, all of you guys are in like LinkedIn groups, Facebook groups, or you have your friendors. You can also ask your friendors, hey, do you have a good SEO person? You don't need to start with like a $5,000 engagement. What you can say is, I want a consultation. I want you to do a review of my code. I want you to look at my score, and I want you to come back and give me suggestions. And then you can decide if you're going to hire the person.
Smart, very smart, because that's one of the things is that we, in our business, again, we're not tech people, and yet it's become more and more important.
It really is important, because I will tell you that I believe the people that are not great digital marketers are going to be left behind.
That's what I mean.
I really feel that way. And I don't feel like you have to do this. Like, I'm this crazy social media person. I'm on every day. I don't feel like that's super important. But if you don't have a strong digital footprint, a website, a strong Instagram, your LinkedIn, just 1 hour on LinkedIn. I'm not asking you to be a LinkedIn nerd like I am, but if you don't have that strong footprint, and you and 3 other people are referred, you might be left off the list. And so I don't want you to be left off the list. So we've made it our kind of life's mission to make digital marketing easier and less confusing for the industry. And so yes, Party Slate is part of it. And of course, we believe we're an important piece of your digital footprint, but we also will help you with a website review. We'll help guide you on the SEO side. We'll help, look at your Instagram and say like, hey, here's 3 changes you can make. So we want to be like almost like a mini digital extension of your team. And if we can help you just that much more, make a little less stressful, we know you're going to have a weight that's lifted off your shoulders.
How important is fresh content?
It's important because one thing Google looks for is it stale content. So I'm not saying every day. On Instagram, it would be great if you could post once a day. If not,
really once a day.
If you could post, again, let's say you're a designer, it'd be great. But what I say is, write down what can you do. Can you do it once a week? Can you do it, 3 times a month?
Run a schedule and stick to it.
Schedule, and don't beat yourself up. Get a schedule. I have a 1-page like digital media strategy, like 1-pager I can send to any of your listeners if anyone wants it.
That'd be great, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and they can actually just go to partyslate.com/ I think it's called review. I should have given you this one. partyslate.com/review. Any tools that I've talked about today, I'm happy to give your listeners. But like, I think, Brooke, what you said is important. Write it down and stick to it. Don't keep beating yourself up. You don't have to be, the daily, twice a day poster. But if you haven't posted in, let's say, 3 months, and let's say an engaged couple looks, I don't know if that looks so good, that you're not out there,
Look busy, be consistent, but be consistent on your timeline though. Like you said, don't once a day. Child, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'll be lucky if I can get something on once a month. Once a week. Let's shoot for the stars here.
Even if it's once a month is better than.
Stick to whatever schedule. Organize it and stick to it. Well, and at least you look consistent that way.
And the profiles on Party Slate that are updated more regular have like 3 to 4 times the traffic, which means to us that Google is finding those pages more valuable because they're more updated.
Well, because that's because we are so busy right now. There's never been a time like this ever that I can ever remember in the 20 plus years that I've been doing this, that we have been so slammed with events. And of course, shortages on labor and materials and everything else, and the Oasis factory burning. I mean, oh my God, kill me now. But did you know about that, by the way? The Oasis factory? Yeah, so there was a shortage of Oasis because the factory burned. So
I'm over there on the wing like the colonial woman's churning the butter.
Oh my God.
We're out of butter.
Watching florists like fight over like that green foam was awesome. Anyway.
I got roses in the back in the garden growing right now.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's so dramatic right now, just because we're so busy and so crazy, that having time to like do this once a week, once a month is, you feel like it's almost overwhelming.
Right.
And you're already here.
Again, it was not in my business plan. Our white glove service is very popular for those reasons.
Yes,
and when we do our monthly and quarterly check-ins, it's kind of like a little checkup. We're like, how are you doing on your Instagram? How are you doing? We like to light a fire a little bit. Like, you're reminding you that content marketing, to have a strong digital footprint, is important. Write it down, hold yourself accountable, and help you.
And you have to stay up to date with all of the changes, because they're constantly updating their analytics. I mean, I know Pinterest just went through one, Instagram just went through one. It's just crazy. I mean, and I can't keep up with it.
Google made a huge update in the last 6 months, and they're even putting more emphasis on performance analytics. How fast does your website load? Is it mobile optimized? All those things that the page speed insights will help you with. That is even more important to Google's algorithm. They don't want to send people to an unoptimized website that doesn't look good on the phone. It's a bad experience. So you're actually going to be penalized for that now.
Wow.
And if you're only uploading once every 3 months.
So Julie, oh my God, that's our hour. Oh my God.
Oh man, I could talk for 2
It went by
hours.
so fast.
My kids were like, "Are you almost done?"
No, I mean it was just so fascinating, and I can't thank you enough for being part of our program. I mean, I was impressed before, but now I'm even more impressed.
Oh, thank you so much.
You really are. I mean, the fact that you were able to create something basically out of nothing and go against all these big, huge other, .coms that were out there is kind of amazing. And
I always say, I'll tell you the secret to my success is hire people that are smarter than you. And that's what I've consistently done. And I mean it. I'm not just saying that.
Yes, Brooke, I know.
No. I just had this conversation today. I'm really good at being number 2. Number 1, I'm the shit. Take a big whiff. Number 2. Number 1, I don't ever want to be. Keith, I love you. And stay there. I'm a good number 2.
Yeah, and my co-founder is like tech and product analytics. I pretend I'm good at that stuff. I'm not a coder. Our SEO team, I hired the head of our sales team, came over from Yelp, had a team of 600 people over at Yelp. So again, I'm hiring these people that I'm learning from and inspired from every day. So I will take credit for the vision, and I do work really hard, but my team is really what's making Party Slate successful.
Amazing. Julie Novak, thank you so much for being on Behind the Veil. I just can't thank you enough. And if you are out there and you want to go to www.partyslate.com, check it out, because I think that you'll be duly impressed, and maybe throw your company at them and see if they accept you, because if they do, you're top 10%. So you're already a winner.
We invite you to apply to be on the site. We want your creativity. We want your professional photos, and we want to make digital marketing a little bit easier for you.
Yes. And of course, the always beautiful Brooke Logan Stoner and Marci Guttenberg with An Affair to Remember by Marci. Everybody, thank you so much. We will see you next Tuesday at 2:00. But for now, say goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.